So I wanted to stop and because again the purpose of this is to talk about really getting to where the future for residential housing. Sun City Mesquite and the baby boomers. Some facts about Sun City first. It's age restricted, started selling in 07. Since then they've sold 1,100 homes. It's pretty remarkable in the worst economic crisis in the last, really since the 30s. Pretty remarkable that they've been able to sell 1,100 homes up there approximately. Their original City of Mesquite approval was for more than 5,000 total units. So they still can build a lot of homes left to build up there. If Mesquite was headed toward being a snowbird retirement community before Sun City, after 7 years of sales, it's squarely in that demographic. Our 2010 census data reflects that. The average age in Mesquite is 52.4 years, and 35% of our residents are age 62 or older. If you compare that to the rest of Clark County, we're almost 20 years older in Mesquite than the rest of Clark County, and what, 20 percentage points higher? So in terms of total population. So we are, whether we like it or not, we're a retirement community. Big, 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 important part. And Sun City, and there are a couple of other age-restricted communities that are out there. The Highland Estates, Highland Vistas, that are age-restricted. Very, very important segment going forward. Baby boomers, here's some stats about that. I won't go into each of that, but I will say 40% of the United States, of U.S. citizens, are 45 and older. That is a gigantic demographic, and a demographic that we should be taking advantage of as we talk about this housing going forward. Go ahead. So new residential building permits by volume and valuation. I went to the city for this, obviously. So last year, 156, up to this time, 156. For that total valuation, 24.1 million. This is the average. You can see that the valuations, the costs and valuations are obviously going up, and they did a little bit more volume and with those figures. Put it into perspective, where we are at with these the last 2 years. Wanted to note that this is where we were at. This is these were big years right here, 04, 05, and 06. You can see where we were at, even to the tail end of that, to kind of put it in perspective. So hit the next slide. So some takeaways from new construction. Go ahead and bring them all up. Residential construction volume over the last 4 years tells a big story. Seemed to be going up, and then 2012 dropped, and then has somewhat recovered this year, but still a little behind. Current new home sales volume, number of subdivided building lots, we have over 5 years really available based on the number of homes. We actually have, if it's 110 homes a year being built, we actually have over 10 years based on the already subdivided lots to be able to satisfy that demand. Now let's hope demand goes up. There are thousands of residential building lots potentially available. Obviously subject to there is a city approval process. I wanted to make sure people understood that. You can't just go and say, hey, it's in the PUD, we want to build homes, and you still have to go through an approval process. So in other words, there is high potential for residential housing construction. Lots of potential. Okay, go ahead. So let's talk about resale residential market. Let's go through this. You can see that the first 9 months of the year through the end of September, 460 total resales. This is the breakdown. Go ahead. Total resales, all housing types in the 89027 by volume, in our main zip code by volume. You can see I actually tracked this at the title company, and I've been tracking it since 07, and you can see where, obviously where some of those have gone. Hit it one more time. This is year to date, so it's through the end of September. If statistics hold correct, if those averages hold correct, we'll actually end the year at around 600, a little over 600 total transactions. So going back to 07, this year will probably be the best year we've had in 7 years in terms of residential resale by volume, not price, but by volume. So there is some good news. Go ahead. So volume fluctuations. I threw these in. The highest yearly volume, 2007, 2009, the lowest yearly volume. the highest monthly closing volume to show you the volatility of what was happening in our residential housing market in 2008. In June 2008, we had 94 residential closings. 2 months later, in August, we had 14. So it was a little volatile during that period of time. But again, I reemphasize, this year we should be closing around 600 total transactions. So we can conclude that resale volume, in terms of volume, it's recovered. We're where we were about the time, during the biggest times, 04, 05, 06, 07, during those times. We're back to those number of sales. Go ahead and go forward. So this slide, hit it again. Bring up the other. So this slide, it is really busy. I know you can't really make out a whole lot, but I put it in here to show you something. And the reason why is you can see 2007 prices and 2008. For the most part, there are a few drops here in 2008. But for the most part, those 2 years, as you look at prices, they still obviously dominate in terms of prices. The rest of the years, we're down in here. And there are a few anomalies down in here. In 2009, there was this month. There was this month here, and at the end of 2012 we had a big bump there as well. But for the most part, it's grouped down here. Again, you're between 250 and 300 up in this area, and over 300. And then the rest of the time we're mostly grouped down in this area between 150 200. That's a pretty significant difference. So that's the reason why I threw this up here. So 2007, 2008 still represent the highest price points. Prices are a little better. They are recovering, but averages are obviously fluid. You see some dynamics here. And if you're a homeowner, I like to say prices are a little better. But if you're not a homeowner, if you're a buyer, it's affordability. It's a good thing. So homes are much more affordable now than they used to be. Go ahead. And so the highest annual price averages, some fluctuations. You can see those statistics right there, those numbers right there. Highest monthly price average, over $350,000 in July of 2007, and then by 2012, the average was 140. So, yeah. So, our year-to-date average right now is 206,000. So, obviously not these numbers here, but better than these numbers here too, as well. Go ahead. So pricing conclusion, we're still recovering. Homes, sorry, that's okay. Homes, we're recovering. Homes are still are affordable in comparison. Now I say 206,000 in some markets. That's not very affordable, but for Mesquite, for our historical trends, that is still fairly affordable. And it is a little volatile. It goes up and down, pricing wise. So, go ahead.